Hello MMA fans, I'm your host Patrick Liwindula, coming to you from Step Up MMA into the Hexagon. Oh man, this week has been crazy, trying to basically just get the show ready to bring to you fans. We came up with this idea of the show, to give you fans more to look up to, because we understand, EFC only comes through on Fridays, Last Fighter Standing only comes through on Monday, and we've got Fight Star, which is coming up. We're not sure which channel it's going to be showing on, but we know that they're coming up with some amazing stuff. So, Step Up MMA is a publication that just decided, there's a gap in this industry and the fans need more, the sponsors need more, they need more exposure. So yeah, man, we're doing this for you. So let's get to it. Basically today we were at the Last Fighter Standing weigh-ins. It was amazing to see all the guys, every single person in that event made weight. Great matchups. A lot of people that we know, whether it was from the amateur or it was from basically our gyms. It's fighters that we know. So definitely it's gonna be a massive card. Obviously the event is tomorrow, Saturday, 15th of October at Coca-Cola Dome. So guys, yeah man, pull through, come and show support. It's gonna be massive. And Step Up MMA got the opportunity to basically interview the CEO of Last Fighter Standing, the spokesperson, and the MASA president, Marius da Silva. So we had a lot of questions to ask them, and they were more than willing to answer. First of all, before we go further, I just want to thank Ruckus MMA and Cage-Side Sibusiso, Kosi, they asked most of the questions. And yeah, man, we've got an interview for you guys. For all of those that don't understand Last Fighter Standing, don't understand the rules, I hope that this interview gives you guys a better understanding on what's happening on this stage. Yes, it's not the usual, thing that we used to. We used to 5 minutes, 3 rounds, preliminary fights, 5 minutes, 5 rounds, main fights. But Last Fighter Standing is a complete, different from mixed martial arts. From speaking to the spokesperson, the CEO, we learned that Last Fighter Standing does not want to classify themselves as a mixed martial arts event. They want to classify themselves as a combat sport, as a combat fight, as a, it's difficult to explain. That's why, it's better for you guys to just hear it from their own words. But look, I think it's great for the fighters. It's a great opportunity that there's another stage for them to compete in. We asked a lot of questions like, when are they going to come back? How many events are they going to be holding? People have a lot of questions they want to know. Is it something that they can depend on? Is it something that they can wait on? Or is it just a fly-by-night that's going to come and just leave? But definitely most of the questions has been answered. It's super exciting to see that there are people out there, just bring up more promotions for the fighters, giving them more opportunities. So this is going to be great. So ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the interview. And yeah, man, come on, push those like buttons on our Facebook page, on our Instagram and Twitter, at Step Up MMA. Instagram also at Step Up MMA, Facebook, Step Up MMA. We're doing this for you guys. Show us the support. Like our page, follow us on Instagram and Twitter. It's just gonna motivate us to do more. So yeah, man, guys, check this out and comment below. Let us know what you think. We will read the comments. And yeah, man, this is the first time we're doing this, so we're just gonna get better. That's one thing I can guarantee you guys. So hope you guys enjoyed this. This is LFS interview. Enjoy.
Okay guys, hi, thanks so much. So far it's looking very good out there. Just a couple of questions from our side. In putting the event together, you guys have obviously seen a couple of opportunities to take this to the next level. I know we've got the final event coming up tomorrow night, but some of the things that you guys have picked up in terms of future opportunities to take this to the next level, you got any ideas at this stage?
Yeah, I mean, I think from our point, we just want to get this show on the road, get it done, understand where the flaws were and where we can niche to make it better next year. South Africa is definitely on the cards for next year. We're also looking at the international model, see where we can take it to, i.e. America, to make sure that it is a national and international platform for everyone.
Okay, then I think coming back to tomorrow night's event, what we've seen just walking in here and what's happening behind there, it's going to seriously be one of the best sort of setup entertainment promotions that I think South Africa's seen in a long, long, long time. Can you give us an idea of what's coming that may not have already been released in the promo stuff?
I think everyone's aware of the promos we put out there. So obviously we've got a massive entertainment aspect behind the fights. Mikasa is performing. I think he comes on at about 9 o'clock. If I understand the time slot's correct. He's going to do 6 of his hit songs, which is the one band in South Africa. We've got a lot of other features of the night, which is, we don't want to put out all our sweets now, but we have got some surprises and it's going to be entertaining. Yeah. We've got a lot of good celebrities coming down as well, which is going to be, the fight night we refer to as Vegas. Okay.
I think then from a fighter perspective, the guys have clearly put in some training, clearly put in some hard yards. I think just looking at the guys that were up on the scale, probably very different looking guys than what we saw at their preliminaries. So the guys have clearly seen that LFS is serious. What do we expect? I mean, you guys have obviously had a lot of time with them. Are we expecting all-out war?
Yeah, I think you can expect a lot of fireworks. Right now, tomorrow you can expect to basically best of the best from all their prelim tournaments facing each other. So, and the guys know that there's a big prize money out there, it's a lot at stake, and they all got ready for this.
From MASA's point of view, LFS has delivered exactly what it said it was going to do, which was to create a platform to identify new talent that wasn't being identified out there in the martial arts. So with that, referring to your question, what you see in the fighters now is guys that were nobodies, a lot of them a year ago. And today they're somebody, and it's finally sunk in. And that's the difference between the guys that were in the preliminary rounds, the guys that follow through till today and tomorrow, is the guys that have actually finally clicked into it, that they're athletes, they're martial artists, and they've been taken seriously, and that's why they're taking themselves seriously, which is a fantastic thing for martial arts in South Africa, as it starts promoting once again us closer to the other sports considered in South Africa. Absolutely. Thank you.
So then following on that question, and I agree with you, not even a year ago, 6-7 months ago, most of these guys were nobodies for the most part. So after Saturday night, 4 of these individuals are going to be really, really somebodies. What's the plan for next year? I mean, these essentially become the LFS champions. They become the next step in the LFS story, which I presume unfolds. I'm going to take a flyer here, April, May, June of next year in the build-up to get back where we are now in a year's time and possibly get these guys overseas. Is that what we're understanding is the plan?
Most definitely, yeah. Most definitely. I think, like you say, they're going to be the face of LFS to build the brand for next year, as you call them, champions, and obviously encouraging new fighters to come out and follow their footsteps, which is definitely what the LFS brand stands for. We're a competition-based platform. We don't want to own fighters. We definitely want to promote the guys that are the champions and make sure that they can enter an international side when we do go there.
Thinking back now to the original press conference where you launched all of this, and now sort of asking some questions going forward. Next weight divisions, are we going to see more than 4 weight divisions next year? Have you had a lot of interest from the other weight division fighters that are at this point, let's call them nobodies, and are looking to become big somebodies?
It is anticipated to have more participation next year, but it's still a guessing game at this stage. Next year, once we launch the season 2 of Last Fighters Standing, then we'll see who's coming on board and what weight division wants to participate, and we'll take it further from there.
Last question from my side, just with regards to ladies fighters. Topical now, bearing in mind what we know what's happening elsewhere in the country. Have you had, from an LFS perspective, a lot of interest from the ladies, ladies that want to now get involved in the sport?
Certainly, there's been a lot of good feedback from the female community in martial arts, and ladies that want to start joining. But once again, you need to have experience to fight. It's still early stages to say we're going to come up with extra ladies weight divisions. We will have to see who registers to start fighting, who comes out of the woodworks.
Okay. And then, sorry, one final question. What happens now? Any one of these guys gets injured between now and tomorrow night for whatever reason, even alone knows?
So with elimination structure, runner-up is here. From every winner, the runner-up that they beat is here from wherever city they're from. And if like you say, the injury occurs, there is a backup already made for it.
Brilliant, guys. Thank you so much. We look forward to a freaking phenomenal event. It's going to be awesome. We'll see you guys tomorrow night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
So there has been some controversy around decisions in kind of the build-up to this. I think a lot of it is because people are confused about how the clicker scoring works, what clicker scoring is. Everyone else uses a 10-9 scoring system.
Can I elaborate on that?
Is that going to change? Is it going to be forced more? Or is there going to be more education on how it actually works?
In actual fact, you're right. And if I listen to your question, then I think there is a misconception, even in yourself. The 10-9 system is applied here. It just comes from a foundation, a different foundation. If you keep looking at MMA as the background point, which would be a common mistake, is then you're going to look at that it doesn't measure up. But in actual fact, the 10-9 system works, but it comes with points. Yeah. So once you have a scoring of points, and you have one fighter scoring, for example, 32, and the other one 22, there's your 10-9 straight away. So it comes back to that. But what is nice about the point system, and as this arena grows, and it becomes a sport that's worldwide, is there's a paper trail of the scoring point back to the judge. Fairness is king. So as far as MASA is concerned, it's something we implemented and we want it, because we don't want it to come down to where it's laid only to a judge's personal opinion of what a fight should be or what a score should be. There has to be accountability, there has to be a paper trail, and that's why it's been implemented.
I think from our side, why we've been a bit critical on it is, and again, correct me if I'm wrong in my understanding, but a strike is a point.
Correct.
So if I give you a leg strike, it's a point. If I drop you for an 8 count, it's a point. Now,
clean takedown, and it's got to break the composure of your.
Now I'm talking about a knockdown, a literal knock you out for an 8 count is a point. Now, in boxing, that's a 10-8 round. In MMA, that's a 10-8 round. In LFS, it's 1 point. Now that looks a bit. I mean, obviously a leg strike is not as much damage as literally dropping someone for an 8 count. I think that's where the confusion is around the clicker system.
It came from exactly what LFS is. It's a main identity. So the scoring system had to be built around what the identity was. So when we approached LFS and we said, what is your objective? And the objective wasn't MMA or Muay Thai or kickboxing, for example. It was a multi-coded martial arts arena. So we had to respect, because those styles are different styles of their own. We had to respect their rules, how they fight, and we didn't want to prejudicate the Muay Thai fighter with these weapons. We didn't want to prejudicate the MMA fighter with these weapons, or the kickboxer. And it was a consensus when we reached that if it was clean and it broke the other fighter's composure, it would count as 1 point. And that leveled out the playing field for everybody.
Even an 8-second knockdown.
Even an 8-second knockdown.
Yeah.
I think it's a matter of being educated on our rules.
100%.
This is a new sport. A couple of events later, you'll all be agreeing with what's happening. Just right now, it's unfamiliar ground. Everyone wants to see a kickboxing fight or MMA fight, but it's an LFS fight.
100%.
And what we pride ourselves on is fairness. It's elimination structure, equal opportunities for men and women, and in this case, it's fairness with regards to scoring system. Taekwondo, karate, kickboxing, boxing, MMA, all the fighters from all styles get scored equally, point by point. And at the end of the day, you can't beat 1 by 1 point when it comes to scoring system.
And the fighters start training towards the rules, like in anything else.
100%. I think for me, it just comes down to a matter of damage done. I mean, if I kick you in the leg, that's not real damage. If I knock you almost unconscious, both of them count the same from a judging point of view.
It depends.
It just looks a bit odd.
If you've witnessed a low kick severing veins and arteries,
No, 100%.
it can happen. So at the end of the day, it was exactly that, leveling the play field for everybody. So you didn't have the MMA guy with an advantage, and he did a takedown, a fantastic takedown, which we could argue until the cows come home, which one takes more strategy, which one takes more application. Like you say, a low kick versus a fantastic guillotine choke and takedown. So at the end of the day, we had to clean it up, and we had to make it a concise rule and level the field, and that's what we did.
I would like to elaborate on that as well. Your reward as a fighter in knocking your opponent down, you weakened your opponent, you can finish him quicker. So your reward should be not be in a point system. Your reward should be in finishing your fight. Or, you know, if you were dropped and you get up, you know, your guard is down, you're shaken up, and you can get dropped again, and so on and so forth. So reward should be not to the point, but finishing the fight.
Okay.
Got a question. You explaining all of this to us, but people out there don't understand it. So in terms of the education behind it, do you guys think enough was done? And what's going to happen moving forward? Because you know what, I've been speaking to people during the week as well. And even for me to sit down and read those rules, I don't think it's something that everybody does every day.
I think it comes down to any other sport in the world. Look at America starting rugby, for instance. You know, I don't think they got it in the first 3 years. They haven't got it in the first 10, actually.
Right.
You know, and people talk about it in America and they're still confused about how it works.
That's a great example.
And I think that you've got to take a sport that is a brand new sport, and as it progresses and as people watch it and as people see it live and start understanding it, they're going to start getting entrenched in understanding what the rules are. We could never educate a nation in 3 months. It's an impossibility. Our social media was reaching 70 to 80,000 people every post. You know, we were reaching a lot of people with the basis of what this was about. We had to either educate on, one, the rules and they get no participation, or get people here, get them entrenched, get them to love the sport, and then next year we'll start building on that entrenchment and understanding the rules and regulations.
I'd like to add to that. If you're looking at the 8 count, as you said, why should it? The question is, or the statement is, the proposal that it should count more. But then you've got the retrospect, which is, if you get 3 of those, your fight's over. So that's where it kicks in. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you get 3 of those, they might have only counted 1 point. But if you get 3 of those, you won't get a 4th. The minute the referee has to deliver a 4th, the fight's over. So you don't want to be counted out. Importantly enough, you've got to understand, when we looked at LFS, and one of the biggest things that we said around the table was the 20-second limit on the ground. Was it going to sell? Was the public going to buy into it? Was the athletes going to buy into it? And you've seen it for yourself. The proof's in the pudding, and we've seen it at the LFS, at the arena. The crowd has bought into it. It brings in the crowd. The minute that count starts, everybody jumps in. In fact, the timekeeper has to make sure that he's checking out the time on his watch and not listening to the crowd, which is really great. I think it's a great success for your arena.
But just to follow up on that, in attending both the Pretoria and the Joburg events, plus watching the television and the way you broadcast it on TV, it's very, very clear that that rule is going to be abused, and it has already been abused, because you might as well take, in my opinion, you might as well take that 20-second rule away, because without many exceptions, every single person has used that 20-second count as a rest.
Well,
because whoever's on the bottom has 9 times out of 10 generally just clung on for dear life, waited for the ref to count, or waited for the crowd to count down, you know, because of that involvement. And I agree with you, they've gotten more involved, but from a fighter perspective, the fighters have started to abuse that rule to the point that when they get stood up, 9 times out of 10, what we also saw is that the guy on top would get up, and as he would get up, most times would end up with his back against the ring or the ropes and almost be disadvantaged, because the other guy gets up in a position of strength to be able to so it's almost, for me, it's like, if that's going to happen and you're going to get the guys back up, you almost want to get them to the middle of the ring to be able to level the playing field again, because many of the guys were disadvantaged by that.
You know, in all sports, if you go from soccer to rugby to boxing, there are those grey zones within the rules. You, as an athlete, it shows proficiency as an athlete to find those grey zones and to use them to your advantage. If you line out everything and it's by the book, you don't have a real fight. You have a rehearsed fight. And by default, that's not what you want. So you want the individuality of the fighter to come out. The rules are there. The 20-second is there. It's mainly for not to have the advantage to the MMA fighter. And as far as the Super Am League, which is concerned, where we have lower-end pros fighting with, you know, higher class amateurs, it's a safety rule as well, and it's going to be implemented absolutely under the Super Am League.
I think, you know, from you in the Joburg regionals, right? You saw one of our guys it took them literally 8 seconds. He was obviously a specialist jiu-jitsu.
So
he took down and he obviously choked him out within like literally 7 seconds. Okay, it applies to that rule. If you can last the 20 seconds and you're going up against a guy who specializes in MMA jiu-jitsu against a kickboxer, he has to last 20 seconds on the ground. And it entices the fact that normally that guy would lose that fight.
Correct.
If he goes to the ground, for 30, 40 seconds, he would have been out. Do you understand?
No, I agree.
So it encourages both styles to say, if you are really that good, go to the ground, but
Show
take
us.
him out in 20 seconds. And usually they could. If not, get back up. And that's what we're enticing is a stand-up combat sport, where you have a mixture of all these different talents coming together, and a guy in jiu-jitsu is disadvantaged if we take that away. Now, he's not good at stand-up all the time. He wants to go to the ground. So that's why this mixture of LFS being a total mixed martial arts platform is really the most authentic version to it. Because if you watch other platforms of its nature, the guys go to the ground for 5 minutes and the audience participation gets lost. And that's where we all started saying it's dying a slow death, because people don't want to watch that kind of fighting anymore.
I think another thing is, one thing that I picked up, one of the biggest problems could be that LFS was sold as MMA. And to us, MMA is traditional. It's what we know. So when these rules came in, people became confused at first.
I think just to reiterate on that, it wasn't sold as MMA. Mixed martial arts in definition is mixed martial arts. It's all definitions of martial arts. Okay, MMA is defined as a body, but we have got specialists in MMA who define themselves as MMA fighters, and then you got guys who say K1 or kickboxers or jiu-jitsu or karate or whatever it is. We're enticing any professional sports guy that is in that specific arena to perform under his best ability.
Yeah,
You
which
understand?
brings me to
So, I understand your perception, but it's not the perception.
Yeah,
Okay.
Because I think that's what confused a whole lot of people.
Yeah,
Correct.
If I can bring that as the authoritative body and the official body, MASA, it was very important for us to make the clean distinction. And right from the start, that's why I take exception to it was sold. It was never sold. It might have been bought as that. It's like you buying a sun umbrella and using it for the rain. Depends on the perception.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, this was a multi-code martial arts. It was going to be fed in by MMA, kickboxing, Muay Thai predominantly. But at the same time, it was a multi-code martial arts. And we made sure we spoke about that. But as Quentin said, if you go around the world nowadays, you'll get academies that say mixed martial arts.
Exactly.
And they'll say underneath MMA, because MMA is a contemporary style. Yet they will say jiu-jitsu, they will say taekwondo, but you will still have on top a mixed martial arts center, so to speak. But we went away from that, we steered away from it so that there wouldn't be that perception. But inevitably the public always sees what they want to see as well.
However, if you do look at 90% of our marketing, you'll find the term all styles. So we actually been selling all styles. You'll never see MMA or mixed martial arts under any of our banners, because MMA is a sport of its own, and we cannot take somebody else's identity. We're sanctioned differently, we've got different rules, so we're not MMA. None of the marketing material says that for you to say we sold it as MMA. Just because our guys wearing the same gloves does not mean we're MMA. And if you look at our marketing material, our identity, our format is in fact all styles. So we sold it as all styles.
You know, just going to Darius' statement, I come back to the fact of what mixed martial arts really stood for and was supposed to stand from the decision of mixed martial arts. It was supposed to be all styles of martial arts as well. But they're their own body, so we can't go there and be under their banner. So we had to create our own, which he's referring to as all styles. It's exactly the same thing though. Mixed martial arts stands for the same thing. It's just that they never really took that principle and said that we've got all these other disciplines in it. They went and specialized in jiu-jitsu, takedowns, grappling and things like that, right? And that's
MMA.
what you see in EFC and UFC today.
I think the licensing for LFS was termed as pro licensing, and then we had terms like a super am, not a pro. But also the global definition of what an amateur and a pro is if you get paid to fight, you're a pro. So what is an LFS competitor? Is he a pro? Is he an amateur? Is he a what is that licensing actually for?
The Super Am Pro, as such, is a 1-year probation period. For what? Well, this is about the athletes. This is where MASA comes in and wants to zeal after the athletes' interest. So we've got top amateurs that we've seen compete here and do well against registered professionals, which aren't really getting the fights they should. There's no real consistency of professional fighting in South Africa. So with that, we joined the two. In that, we gave them a year to decide whether they wanted to stay and become professional or not. We'll go back to amateur. So the Super Am League allows them to look at it properly and then decide this is for me or this is not for me. And then if it is, they will become LFS Pro. Now the pro arena, like we have tomorrow, where we've got 4 international fights, are the pros already. That's the first the first taste and the first flavor that you get from LFS's Pro League, if you want to call it that. But the Super Am is an identity of its own. It's a talent show. At the same time, it's also a fantastic opportunity to identify, the proficient talent that's out there, bring it closer and make somebodies of nobodies that would be forgotten because of trainers, politics, whatever the case may be. So in that sense, you're going to have that, it's going to be more defined as LFS goes forward, and you start seeing the professionals of LFS fighting, which we'll start seeing tomorrow, and the Super Amps, and that is different.
General definition, take idols. They do a road show, they find talent, they haven't got a record deal yet.
Well, I'll give you a good example. You must remember, MMA took over the world, and kickboxing, there's not many opportunities for pro kickboxers. So you'll have a kickboxer who wants to fight, and he's got 40, 50, 60 amateur fights. Why? Because there's no pro kickboxing to participate in. So if he turns pro, he's going to fight once every 3 years, if there's a chance. So he stays amateur. And the Super Am League gives them that opportunity to go against pros to see if there's more opportunities to whether he wants to stay in amateurs or turn pro.
If they want to become a pro in MMA, for example, the Super Am license does not allow them, does not eliminate that procedure. No, not at all. It's a license specifically for the LFS Super Am League. It's not for anyone. It doesn't replace any other pro license.
So you could still be an amateur MMA fighter and be a Super Am LFS fighter. I think that's everyone's major
question. Very much.
Yes, that answers the question.
And then just maybe a final question from me. The pro fights, are they 2-minute rounds as well?
No, it's referring to the semi-final.
None of the international.
International guys.
Same, but five rounds.
Yeah,
5 rounds of 2 minutes, and then the finals themselves, 5 rounds of 2 minutes.
Sorry, it's three rounds
2-minute
of
rounds.
2.5 rounds. Yeah. The first elimination. The final is always 5 rounds.
Yes.
Before the final, it's always 3 rounds, and it's always 2 minutes.
Okay, so everything is 2 minutes in
the
your
same
space?
rules apply for them as our fighters, which we want to just test the platform. But it is 3 2-minute rounds and it's 5 2-minute.
For the final. Okay.
Yeah.
Final statement, congratulations.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
Look forward to having you guys.
Lights, camera, action.
Those of you that are going to EFC, just whatever.